Welcome back to Center Circle Podcast, your home for all things knowing of UPSL Georgia. This time, we're going to talk about the Premier Division, and we're going to talk about the 2025 spring season and who's in and what we are expecting. Larry Weaver here, Andre Bomar. Andre, we ready to rock and roll?
Let's go. Let's do this.
And we're going to start alphabetically. We're going to start with Albion SC. They are going to be playing out of Locust Grove High School. Last season, they were 11th place and they were 2-1-10.
Yeah, I this is one of those teams. I haven't really seen much from them to tell me that they're going to do much better than they did last season. They didn't seem to have an urgency about them. And I say that because at many of the games, they didn't have a coaching staff that showed up. Sometimes they didn't have enough players to fill out to play the game. And so that has nothing to do with the talent level they have. It's a very talented club, but if you don't have that focus, you really can't make strides in a division like this. And I said the same thing about Kalonji a couple of seasons ago. I felt like player for player that they were the best team in the division. But if you don't have all the other intangibles along with that, there's so much competition in this division that I think that you can be hurt by that and you can't really progress. And so if they kind of fool around like they did last season, I think that what they're going to be looking towards is a fight against relegation by the end of the season. But I think it's totally in their hands to make a difference to that. But that's where I am right now with them and the experience we had with them last season.
Yeah, and then we move on to Dalton United. A lot of changes for Dalton United this spring season. They're going to be playing out of Dalton High School this season, not Dalton Stadium. They were second place last season, 9-3-1, but we have a lot of changes with Kiko leaving the club.
Yeah. Kiko has done a great job in building this club to where it is now. I think this is one of the more exciting teams to look at for the next season. Jose Gonzalez is the new skipper there, who's taken the helm as the head coach. And he's been with the club for a while, so it's not like a new addition to the club. He's worked with Kiko quite a lot, so he knows a lot about the players. But I think the thing that's most exciting, and we touched on this last week, is they're expanding their support system in the club. For so long they've had the same players that have played at a high level and done very well, but they haven't had much youth support to come in through there. And so as we talked about before, there's a lot of talent in that North Georgia area up there in Dalton, Calhoun area. And so there's the academy that they're now building. They have a team that's going to compete in Division 1, and we'll get with Patrick Roach in the coming week to talk about Division 1 and the things that are going to go on there. But when you have that type of support system with the youth academy, you have the reserves in Division 1. You're starting to build what you need for a club to really get to the next level. Now, I will say for Dalton United last season, could have easily won the division in the regular season division, but they were also in the U.S. Open Cup. They got to the third qualifying round, pushed a lot of their games to the late part of the season, a lot of fixture congestion, and they just really got done in pretty badly by that and weren't able to, get to that next level. Although they finished second, they just didn't have enough strength in the playoffs to do much with it. So that's going to change this coming season. And so with all of this new stuff with them, you got to think that they're going to be a favorite for the division title.
Favorite indeed. Move on to FC Birmingham, a team that we talked about last podcast, kind of done in wrong in regards to their venue. They ended up seventh place last season. They were 5-2-6, but this season they are going to be playing out of Pleasant Grove Stadium there in Alabama.
Yeah, it seems to be a habit with FC Birmingham. They have the facility issues there in Alabama, and I think it's more of a state issue. A lot of teams at this level are having a tough time finding a place to play. And unfortunately, it's the same again this season. Now, they were supposed to have another facility they're going to play at. They've pulled the rug out from under them. And so they're going to be back at Pleasant Grove, we think. And so, again, all of these distractions off of the field is a hindrance to their making progress on the field. Now, on the field, when they are there and they can focus, with Josh Martinez as the head coach there, I think that they can go very well. They made the playoffs last season. I think that they can make it again this season. Um, but again, the distractions is going to be a key. Will they have, that solid coaching throughout the season, that leadership that came from Josh? He did a great job. He also led on the field. But, with so many distractions off the field, with sponsors, with the facility, it gets in the way of preparation. And again, I'll say it over and over again, in a division like this, those are the types of things that can prevent you from getting to that next level. So it'll be up to Doug Walk and the crew there to settle the team. They have some experience now. And, it's up to, again, like I say with Albion, like I say with, even when we get to Portros, I think that if you can minimize the off the field distractions and focus on playing the game and competing, then FC Birmingham could go far. But if they don't, then I think they're looking at mid-table again.
Yeah, we'll have to see what FC Birmingham can put together. Now let's talk about the first of our Division One entrants, FC Columbus Elite. They came into that. We talked about it last podcast where they were kind of done in wrong with the way that the playoffs were structured. They were 9-0-2, and they are actually going to be sharing uh, Otis Spencer Stadium with Fountain City FC.
Yeah, FC Columbus, well-run club, professionally run, good venue that they're going to be playing at. Um, Strong, like you say, they very strong finish in Division One, done wrong in the playoffs, somewhat, and I think that is the thing that hindered them from actually winning the promotion outright through the competition. But they did get a lifeline to come into Premier because of another team in Premier being removed, which I think is fair in the big picture of things. Now, you know, to me personally, they're an unknown factor. I didn't get an opportunity to see them play last season in Division One, but I saw where they did finish strongly. But the Premier is a very different animal, and so we'll have to wait and see. At least I'll have to wait and see. What level will they be able to compete at? Will they be battling for a playoff place, or will they be battling against the drop? I think time will tell.
Yeah, another team that's coming from Division One that we've seen in previous seasons in Division One, Pachuca. They had to go through the playoffs to win the playoffs to earn that spot here in Division One. They were also 9-0-2. Still don't know where they're going to play this season as you come from Division One to Premier. You have a lot more requirements for your location. Got to have the locker rooms and the all those pieces and pods. They're still working it out. Hopefully, we'll find out where they're going to play this week.
Yeah, and I said a lot about the problems in Alabama. I've been involved with helping this club, along with Jason Longshore, to help this club find a facility. And again, these teams are running into issues with these sometimes high schools, sometimes as city officials, where you're negotiating and you think you got a deal made, and then boom, in the final hour they say, "Oh, maybe not. We're not going to go with you." And that has been the issue with Pachuca. They thought they had two different venues set for the spring season, and they've lost both of them. They should have that nailed down this coming week. We're close to a couple of things getting confirmed for them. But as for the team, I think that Pachuca, when I there's a lot of reputation. They're new to Premier in the UPSL, but the coaching staff is not new to the game. I mean, Ricardo Montoya is very experienced and well known in the football community here in the North Georgia area. I would say that on balance, they probably have one of the best youth academies in the division right now. They finished strong in Division One, as we said, but outside of Coach K, I think that, at North Georgia, I think that Pachuca might have one of the best coaching staffs as well. So those are the intangibles to look for. It now, they had a very young team in Division One, but I expect them to add on some experience to mix well with that youth element that they have there. And but again, still a bit unknown when it comes to stepping up to the Premier Division. But I think I feel pretty good about them surviving, and we'll have to see if they can, muster enough to, compete for a playoff spot at the end of the season.
Yeah, a team that found that out oh so well last season, Fountain City FC. They came up from Division One, really, they staked their claim there in Division One, and then they kind of struggled last season in the Premier. They ended up in eighth. They did make the playoffs, but they were 5-0-8. They're still going to be playing out of Otis Spencer Stadium, just like we said with FC Columbus Elite. So it's going to be interesting to see what Gage Joyner can do with that squad, if he can bring in some more talent for the coach there, and see if they can make a run a little bit deeper in the playoffs.
Well, I think a boost with Fountain City is the return of Christian Scheidel. This is a guy who's won the Golden Boot in Division One. He was challenging for it in the Premier last season. Just missed out through a late flurry by Anthony Sumo at Kalonji per profile. But I do like this club. They're run correctly. I think they're one of the better supported clubs by the fans in the division. And they're integrated very well within the local community there, which is, what you want to see out of a club like this. So they're a club dedicated to building with the youth. And so I think that what they need is sort of what I said with Pachuca. They need a little bit more experience, but they also need a little bit more grit and strength when it comes up to playing against the big boys like Georgia Revolution, Kalonji Pro Profile. They need a little bit more toughness about them to really get to the next level. It's almost they made the playoffs last season just barely, but I think that they lacked a little bit of that intensity that needed to go further in the division. Now they can do it, and I think again the return of Scheidel is a good start. But will it be enough for them? Do they need to bring in a little bit more experience to help with that youth element they have there? So should be safely in the mid table, I think. Whether they'll get a playoff spot remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hot and heavy in the playoffs this season. A team last season that did themselves in, Georgia Athletic, a team that ended up in ninth place. They were 5-2-6. They had the same record as FC Birmingham, like we talked about with the change of the dynamic of what was the tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker really that came down for Georgia Athletic was that game that they ended up getting the forfeit due to an illegal player. But this is a team, they're going to be out of Discovery High School again, and we'll see if they can add on and help Nazario and Bamio and see if they can get back into the playoffs where I think they probably should have been last season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this club will improve, and I think you're right. I mean, Coach Michele has a solid coaching staff there at Georgia Athletic, and a good mix already of experienced players like Mbamio, along with some of the youth that are coming through at that club. And so I think that they'll bolster their race for the honors this coming spring season. They got to stay out of trouble, from last season. It's a mistake they made with fielding an illegal player. I think it's well known, and so hopefully they learn from that. And I think if they can avoid those pitfalls, I think a playoff place is a reasonable look for them going in. And who knows, they might go a little bit further. They have a lot of talent and good coaching staff.
Yeah, and then we move on to a team that is probably expected to be a favorite, and that will be Georgia Revolution. They did exceptionally well. Third place last season, 9-3-1, right there with Dalton United. They were at the top of the table for most of the fall season. I think that the expectations kind of, they didn't meet expectations for the playoffs, and I think they're going to be hungry to try to get a title.
Yeah, a firm favorite for the title. I think that, when you look at last season, they were the only team to beat Kalonji Pro Profile in the regular season. They did it pretty emphatically. And, they got a pro quality about the club from top to bottom. And it's with the coaching, with the experience of the players there. They have a supporting academy that I hope will come into the UPSL this season. But I think they're looking to get over the hump this season and get the division title. They don't want anything less than that, I don't think. I think these past 2 seasons they've really not gotten to where they wanted to be, but I think they're going to be knocking on the door against the favorites, Kalonji and Dalton, this season. And I think they have you know, arguably the best chance at that division title if they can stay healthy and get through this season that's now expanded a little bit, allow a little bit more time for some bye weeks and things like that for recovery. So yeah, I think this is a favorite. I agree with you.
Yeah, and then we talk about the favorite, which is Kalanchi Pro Profile. They ended the season first place once again, 12-0-1, made it into the playoffs, fell to Soda City again. I'm going to say something that's going to sound a little controversial, but I think that Bruno Kalanji has the hardest time as a coach. And the reason why I say that is because we see from time to time during the games, he's probably got the best 11 players on the field. The job that Bruno has to do is to get those 11 players to play together. And that doesn't always happen. And I think that he really, if he can get that squad all on the same page, all working for each other, working for the badge, not working for the individual, they're a team that cannot be beat.
Well, I don't know if I could put it any better than that. I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think player for player, best talented squad in the division. But what is lacking was exposed by Soda City. Soda City outcoached, Kalonji per profile, second season in a row. And I think it has a lot to do. And you're right. I don't necessarily fault the coaching staff. I think it's an uphill battle when you have talent too deep at every position to coach them and make them follow your club's direction and where it needs to go when it comes to playing teams. I think a lot of times it gets into these players' heads that all we need to do is, with all this talent, we just need to get on the field and play and we'll win. And against a team like Soda City, I think that you're going to run into that with Georgia Revolution too. When you play against a team like that study you, that they look at your tendencies, they look at the players and what they can do and what they can't do, and they coach their own team to play against Kalonji Pro Profile and get something out of the game. I think that's been proven by Georgia Revolution. I think it's been proven by Soda City, and so what they need to do, they got the talent. They do have the coaching, and they got an academy that feeds youth into the older players. I think, you said something controversial. I think I'm going to say something a little controversial too. He's going to have to let go of some of these older players and bring in that youth element that's going to be a little bit more hungry and a little bit more accepting of coaching and being told what to do in a game to get something out of it. I think some of these older players are at the point now they're uncoachable. And I think we've seen that in the past 2 seasons. So I think that's their biggest thing that they're going to have to overcome. And they'll be a favorite for the division. But I think that between Dalton and Georgia Revolution, I think they're bigger favorites than Kalonji per profile this coming season.
We will see how this goes. Another team that earned promotion, and they earned it through winning the Division One, a team that we've known from the past, Lamino, Georgia. They made it. They were 9-1-1. They earned promotion through winning it all out. There's someone that's been around. It's a team that has won the division before. So we will wait to see what they can do. Coach Raul, there's been times where they have been unbelievably, just perfect soccer. You can't beat them, but they don't have the likes of Gio Rios anymore. What is this team? Because when they left the Premier Division, they were a team that was kind of in that Kalanji's issue where all of the older players were starting to phase out and they didn't have the youth players to come in and to take into those positions. Now they have retooled. What can they do this time in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that the last time they were with us, Leminho, I think that there's a bit of entitlement, a feeling of entitlement they might have had about being in the Premier. They brought in, they were going to play a game against Legends FC in the last game of the season. And instead of bringing all their best players, they just brought an academy team to play in Premier for that last game, lost it, and were relegated. And were shocked that that relegation went through. And so, they quit at that time. And when you have a situation like that, we've gone through it with Atlanta City. When you have a team that comes in and they just expect to be given things, it can be problematic. But they've come back in Division One. They won the regular season there. They were able to get promoted automatically. They seem to have a new spirit about them. But again, just like I said with the FC Columbus, there's an unknown factor for me personally. Are they really a new team? Are they focused on the competition, or are they really just maybe a youth academy that's trying to get a little prestige by being in Premier? And so I just don't know yet until I see them play. And that's been a problem for me personally. I haven't seen a lot of the Division One games this year, but the fact that they won the division and in the history, like you said before, they've had this enormous amount of talent. They've won the division before in the past. So the pedigree is theirs. What will they do with it? And so again, unknown. If they're focused, if they take the competition seriously, they should compete very well for playoffs. But if they do what they did in the past and don't put their best on the field, they're going to suffer in the spring season. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
And another wait and see was going to be for Lamino. They are saying that they're going to play out of Meadow Creek High School over there in Norcross. Not, we've been there many times. The width is going to be the question. Can they get it expanded to the Premier League standard? We'll wait to see. Also,
Yeah.
talking about the two teams that we just talked about, Georgia Revolution, they're still playing at Warhawk Stadium down there in McDonough. Shiloh Stadium is still going to be the home of Kalanchi Pro Profile. Those venues don't change. We move on to another team that had significant success in the fall season, North Georgia United. Coach K completely reinvigorated that team. They ended up in third place, 8-3-2, made it all the way to the playoff finals. This is a team that's going to be back at Riverbend Park. Excited to see what Coach K can do for his second season.
Yeah, I think they finished fourth on the head-to-head behind Kalanji, Dalton, and Georgia Revolution, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was one of
Uh,
those where it was all about the points. It says it's third, but they were really fourth.
yeah, and so but I'll tell you what, if there's a dark horse for the division title, I'm not just saying playoffs, but for the title is North Georgia United. And the reason I say that is Jonathan Torres, who owns the club. He's sort of the lead manager there of the club. He has that club running on all cylinders, off the field, on the field with the coaching staff. Like you say, Coach K won the coach of the season last season for a reason. Brought in initially to coach the girls team, was transferred to the main men's club, which was going to play in Division One. Found out they were going to stay in Premier, and then coached his way through that. And the way that team, the arc that team has gone over and achieved has been nothing more than phenomenal. And I don't see them dropping at all. I think they're going to enrich the talent that they have there. We talked about the talent rich area there in North Georgia. And I think that Coach K's, his coaching ability, the support of the local community there, I think that this team, if they hit it just right, could challenge for the title. I wouldn't bet against them. And so I think that is the thing to look forward to. A lot of people are not going to give them a lot of credit, but what they showed last season tells me that if they can just reset, add a few pieces here and there, You got Emmanuel Lom, who's just going to score goals. Ronald Maradiaga, his scoring partner there in the front of attack. There's no shortage of attacking options they have there. Got to watch out for the defense, though. They've been suspect there from time to time, but I think Coach K has the right coaching ability to solve those defensive frailties and do something even better than last season.
Absolutely. A team that failed to meet their expectations in the fall season was the spring season, regular season champions, and that was Potros FC. They fell all the way down to sixth place, 7-3-3. We talked about it last podcast where they had issues in the staffing where the head coach left before the season, the coach that came in left during the season. So it was one of those things where uh, Christopher Uranga had to work hard behind the scenes to get them through the season. What can they do here in the spring season with a fully focused squad and staff? We'll see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, always a strong club. But for me personally, too many uncertainties right now. And we talked about them last season, and they got that slow start, uh, changes of coaches twice last season. And, although they won the division 2 seasons ago, they've sort of stagnated when it comes to building on that. And other teams have kind of caught up with them and passed them by. So the good thing for them, though, they are solidly owned by Christopher Oranga and the Oranga family. I think that that close knit that relationship they have with the players there can be the intangible to get them to the next level. But they got to settle as a club and then go out there and play. But this is a club that's methodical. They're a team that a lot of teams like Georgia Revolution or Kalonji Pro Profile may look past from time to time, but they do so at their own peril because this team is very talented. Mark Bonneau, another player that almost won the Golden Boot last season. No shortage of attacking options there. And of course, Benjamin Oranga, sort of the captain and the anchor in the defense there, gets forward a lot and really holds the club together. So it'll be a team that has, I think, it is an outside chance at trying to get to that title, division title, regular season title. But they're going to have an uphill battle when you consider the competition and what they've done, like Dalton and Georgia Revolution. But it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, that is in fact true. And then we're going to talk about the team with the biggest asterisks, Soccer Saves Lives, SSL. They finished the season 13th, should have been relegated. Only reason that they're there is because of all the shakeup in the division. They ended the season with 1-3-9. They are going to need wholesale changes from the squad through the staffing. This is a team that is going to need to fix a lot very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, if I can compare it to any other team, it would be Albion. I mean, it's hard to believe that SSL is from the same academy as Kalonji per profile, but they are treated very, very differently. They have a different ownership group, and I think that the players there, they have a lot of pride, but they don't seem to have the coaching and direction that per profile has, and so it's I think that this is a team that's going to have to look at possibly fighting against relegation again this coming season, and it's not through a lack of talent. I think it's a lack of direction. I mean, when we saw them in the season last season, the way that even their uniforms they didn't match, and they had issues where coaches wouldn't show up and things of that nature. So if they can get their act together, they have enough to stay mid table, but I haven't like with Albion, I haven't seen that develop yet. And in my mind, I'm almost thinking they would have probably done better by going to Division One, where they were relegated and reorganizing to come back up, because the competition that they're going to be playing against is no joke. And so I think this is one that's going to struggle next season, SSL. So again, I could be wrong with all of these, but that's just my opinion right now based on what I know.
And seasons past, they were league leaders. Last season, they were cannon fodder. So we'll see what they can put together there at Shiloh Stadium. Also, be remiss, Potros FC playing out of Marietta High School, just like always. We move on to the final team of the Premier Division, UMAFC, a team that always struggles in the fall season as they lose a lot of their good squad to college duties. We'll see what they can do here in the spring. The spring is always their best. They ended up in 10th. They were 3-1-9. Going to be a different set this year because they're not going to be playing out of LaGrange at Callaway Stadium. They're going to be at Russell County High School down in Seal, Alabama. This is going to be a different set. You got to think about all the teams from Atlanta that are going to have to make a little bit more of a trip this time.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit further out for some teams, but it's sort of the same distance as say like FC Birmingham from Atlanta, a little bit further south. But again, UMA, great coaches and admin there, and Coach Andrew Hawoon has done a great job, especially with the youth there and integrating them in the Premier. Coaches and admins there, Brent Collins and Eric Partridge, have done a great job working with him. But it is a youth-based coach, and like you say, a lot of times they deal with a lot of college players, and they lose those college players in the fall season, but they'll have them back in the spring. So they have a little bit more experience there, well coached. A bit unknown as to how they will do though going against the top teams in the division. I think they'll compete there, but it's going to be an uphill battle. We'll have to see how they do with that. But also unknown is whether Tony Kim will play a part at all in the coming season. But they do have some great young talent there: Mason Walton, Tiago Silva, Eric Jeong. I think that if a few of those or even more come in, they'll at least compete. I think they'll be safe from the drop or anything like that. But I'd like to see them battle for a playoff place and better if possible. They have the coaching and the organization. They're well supported as well, just like Fountain City is. And they remind me a lot about like Fountain City and how they run the club, youth based and just really solid from week to week. Nobody really blows them out or anything. They just out there and competing. So it'll be entertaining again to watch them. New environment for them to play in, and more experienced players coming back into the side for the spring season. So I think they'll do better than last season.
That'll do it for the spring season. 14 teams, 13 games. We kick off March 1st. Who is going to make it to the playoffs and who is on the way out? Top 7 teams are going to make it to the playoffs again, Dre?
Top 8 are going to make it, and it'll be a carbon copy of last season. We just won't have a bye week for the division title, but it'll be a seeded playoff. So one will play 8, and 2 will play 7, and so forth. And then, of course, the winner of the division title will go on to the nationals.
So that'll be 8 teams. Who's going to be in? Who's going to be out? We'll have to find out, and you'll have to find out on ASMG TV. Also, don't forget, we are strengthening our Instagram. We're strengthening our X accounts. Keeping in mind, we even have a Facebook, even though not many people use Facebook these days. But that neither we still have it out there for those boomers out there. We love you. Keep an eye on soccer. That is everything. We are going to bring you everything that we can bring you here on ASMG TV. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We will be showing you every single match that is possible in this Premier Division this spring. And maybe we'll even show you a little bit from other divisions. So keep an eye out. You'll never see. That's going to do it for us here. Dre, you want to send us out?
Well, yeah, I just want to say, add on that look for the listeners out there. Look forward to another contest coming up. We're going to have the top goals from this past season and top saves for the goalkeepers. And this is a competition where the fans get a chance to vote on, and the winner, of course, will get a plaque. The winning player in both of those contests will get a plaque and trophy. And we're going to possibly use X as one of those avenues for you to make those votes. So please go there and follow us there, and you can get involved and participate.
Absolutely. Get ready because content is going to be coming at you fast and furious right here. Don't go away. Don't run away. Stay with us. It's going to be a sprint for us. So for Andre Bomar, I've been Larry Weber. Thank you for watching ASMG TV. We'll see you next time.